Hello, Hannah the Suburban Witch here, and today I'm talking to you about how to read the tarot cards intuitively. Now, there's a few different schools of thoughts on how to read tarot cards, and you may have heard me speak about this before in other content that I've put out. So basically, there is the traditional meaning of the tarot card, and then there is an intuitive meaning. I like to weave both of those in. I think that's how I work best with the tarot, and I'm interested in sharing that method with you. Now, the traditional meaning is still important, but when you're starting out, it is really hard to memorize all of those meanings. There are a lot of cards, 78 cards, each with a different meaning. So I'm going to teach you how to tune into the card, depending on the deck that you use as well, how to get that meaning out of it, where to sort of lean on it if you don't have that traditional knowledge backed up in your brain just yet. Let's start with the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith tarot deck. You may see this around about looking like this, right? That's what it looks like. That's the cover. Now, I'm just going to pick a random card and we're going to do this together, okay? So this is assuming I have no knowledge of the traditional meanings, okay? This is how the process would go. This is how I started out when I was learning. Let's just pick a card, okay? All right. Page of Pentacles, all right? So we can read what it has on it if it has words on the card. And then we can do a little exercise where you just take a deep breath. Now look back at the card. What colours are there? Lots of yellow. Yellow makes me feel happy. This feels good. What's he doing? He's holding something up. Okay. So if I was holding something up here, so imagine yourself as this person, right? So I am holding this coin in my hand. Coin makes me think it could be money or work maybe. Hold it up here and we're looking at it. We're attentive. We're focused on it. Okay, maybe we're focusing on something to do with work at the moment. All right. Other things we can do, right? Look at the landscape. There's no one around him. He's doing this by himself. What else? We've got this big thing on his head, right? So I'm going, what is the significance of that weird hat thingy? Head's knowledge. Okay, maybe he's learning about something for his work. Maybe he is, learning. And we see he's outdoors, sort of on this plain. What could that mean? It's spacious, it's wide. He has the space to learn and move and grow. Okay, grow. Maybe he's doing this quite slowly. He's taking his time. All right, he's not in a hurry anywhere. There's no movement in this card. All right, so this is how we sort of lean into it intuitively, just based on what we see here. Now, other times when you take a deep breath and you look at the card, depending on what the question is, you may see, this mountain in the background. What do mountains mean to me? Okay, I might think of a mountain as, we've got a long way to go. Got a big way to climb. We're at the very beginning. We're learning. Now, knowing the traditional meaning of this card, all of that symbolism works well with this. So it is about trusting yourself and trusting what comes up. Even if it makes no sense to you, often when we put it out there, it actually does work for the situation. So that's with this one. Now I'm going to show you with a different card. All right, now I'm going to show you with another deck. So this is called my Shadowscapes deck. I've pulled out the High Priestess, okay? Now, if you're new to tarot or you're not wanting to use the traditional meanings, you're just wanting to go with your intuition, what do? Take a deep breath. Look at the card. What do you see? What do you feel? What do you hear? So depending on the question as well, I'll find sometimes I might, say I'm asking a question, what do I need to know right now? Okay, so if I'm doing a daily draw, what do I need to know today? I'll look into this. I might feel, something tingling in the top of my head, right? That can be a sign of clair-sentience coming through. It's where you're feeling something, clear feeling. So I feel this tingling. I think, what does that mean? My crown chakra opening, being open to knowledge. That's how you start going through into those intuitive feelings and interpreting the symbols that your body gets. Okay, it's going to be different for everyone. It's based on your internal symbology that you know things to be. So when we look at this one, right, we're going to look at what's in the card. Oh, an owl. Makes me think wise, old and wise and knowledge, those sorts of things, right? But an owl is also a hunter, so, very keen eye and knowing the truth when they see it. That's kind of the vibe I'm getting, right? An owl doesn't, you don't think of an owl and say, oh, it knows the truth from lies. But that's what just came through, right? It came out of my mouth. Sometimes you just got to start talking and things will come through. So discernment is a word that comes through, right? Now we look at the figure. Imagine you as the figure in the card, right? Just got our arms outstretched. What does that usually mean to you? Open, being open to something, maybe open to knowledge, right? We've got this owl, so she's open to the knowledge of the universe. In this card, we've got these 2 tree trunks and she's got some falling leaves off her. She's ascending above the physical. So this is the physical earthly plane being those trees, and she is ascending above those into the spiritual. So it's like spiritual knowledge coming through, okay? She's holding a pomegranate, okay, feminine knowledge. Pomegranates, you think of Persephone, we think of feminine, I mean, they're a symbol of femininity and the menstrual cycle and the moon and all of those sorts of elements. So this is divine feminine power. So there is a lot to unpack in this card if you simply tune in, listen, and go with what your body, your clairaudience, your clairvoyance is seeing. Sometimes you might look at a card and be just, like, oh my gosh, I am just so intrigued by this one particular leaf. Everything else in the card is not popping out at me. That one leaf. What is in a leaf? A leaf is, a cycle. It, helps the tree to get life from the sun, and then it shrivels, it falls, and it becomes compost for that tree to give more life to the tree, and then it goes back up through. It's a beautiful cycle. So that might be the meaning that you get intuitively from the High Priestess. If you ask a traditional old school tarot reader, what does the High Priestess mean? They're not going to get that meaning. That's an intuitive read. So that's the difference, and that's how you can read intuitively with any card in the decks. And I'll show you one more example with my Dark Mansion Tarot as well. Now I'm going to show you one of my Dark Mansion Tarot cards. I love this deck. The artwork is really lovely. Very kooky, quirky. What we have here is the Two of Cups. Now we're reading this intuitively, so just throw out any meanings that you think Two of Cups means. And just look at the card. Take a deep breath. What do you see? What do you hear? What do you feel? Imagine that you're stepping into this card. You are a person in this scene, okay? All right, what do we feel when we step in here? There's 2 people in front of us. You can imagine yourself as one of the characters, or you can imagine yourself separate and just observing, right? So you're in here and you see this couple, arms intertwined, each holding a cup. It feels quite intimate. I feel like I've intruded on something. It's very intimate, it's very precious. They're totally in their own world. They're absorbed with each other. Okay, so it feels special as well. It feels like love. It feels gentle, sweet. There's no malice here. This is a nice card. We see these turtle doves at the top. Oh, that makes me think of, getting all cozy, coupled up, love. Lots of love in this card, right? This is the way you can get some of the words. So think of that, if someone's asked a question about, what sort of business should I work on? And you get this card, you might say, working one-on-one with people. Maybe something in the love industry, like a, dating app, or, love coaching, or relationship mentoring, or relationship therapy. Like those sorts of words is what would come up with this card. Or it could even just be, whatever you do needs to be done in an intimate setting. Give people the feeling that they're special, right? That, whatever it is they come to you for, they feel special and unique, and it's all about them, right? Giving them that vibe. These are the sorts of things in the ways that you can read into the card. And it's funny because once you start leaning in intuitively like this, often you stumble across the card's actual meaning anyway. But what it's doing when you read this way, you're not locking yourself into those predetermined ideas of what the cards should be. I still believe it is important to know what the cards mean and the archetypes and the journey that they all go through. That is important stuff to know as a tarot reader, especially if you are selling your readings. But if you're just doing it at home, just read intuitively. It's fun. And then once you want to progress and you've learnt those original meanings, the traditional meanings, you can weave them in with your intuitive knowledge. There are times where I do a reading and I pull a card and I get a word in my head. So, oh, I'm hearing the words, whatever it is, whatever comes through. So I'm hearing the words, intimate setting, that's what came into my head, and it might be a totally different card. But that's the word that comes in. That's me listening to my intuition, and I'll state that, and then I'll discuss what the traditional card meaning is, because the card is pulled for a reason, the words come through for a reason, and often they weave in together. So that's just an example of how you can read intuitively using any deck of the tarot. Let me know what you thought. Please like and subscribe if you'd like to see more videos like this. Give me a comment, let me know what your questions are, and I can always do a video to address those and help you guys learn the tarot more, or other divination practices as well. Have a great day, and I'll see you next time.